Breaking news tonight, Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar says that she will not be intimidated after she was attacked while speaking at a town hall event in Minneapolis tonight.
Face impeachment. I don't know.
You can see there that Omar was sprayed with some kind of substance while she was speaking, and she had just called on DHS Secretary Kristi Noem to resign. When the man sprayed her with that substance and that liquid from a syringe, police then arrested him. He's now facing third-degree assault charges. CNN's Sarah Seidner was there as it all unfolded, and she spoke to Omar just moments after the attack. Here's what she said.
Representative Omar, are you okay?
You know, I'm gonna go figure if I am, but I feel okay. I feel that it is important for people, whether they are in elected office or not, to allow these people to intimidate us, to make us not fight for our constituents and for the country we love. And as I said, you know, I've survived war. And I'm definitely going to survive intimidation and whatever these people think they can throw at me, because I'm built that way.
Thank you.
So Omar has been the subject of all kinds of different attacks from conservatives for many years now. But we also know that threats against lawmakers of all kinds have been increasing dramatically, Ellie. And this is just the latest incident. It seems that she was fine, but it could have been much worse.
Well, thank God she's fine. And she really stood up in a courageous way there. I'm glad that this person has been charged with assault. He also should be and can be charged with federal crime of assaulting a federal officer. He should be locked up. He should be denied bail. Look, how can we ignore what's happening? I mean, these types of attacks are increasingly frequent. Going both ways. And part of it is due to the rhetoric. So I think both parties have to be very careful about what they say. So someone like Ilhan Omar, look, she draws a lot of attention. She draws a lot of heat. A lot of people have said a lot of over-the-top things about her. I don't think either side is any better than the other side when it comes to this. And this is the scary outcome.
But the problem is, though, that one of the people who has led the charge against Ilhan Omar is Donald Trump. So when you have the guy with the biggest bully pulpit in the world. He was at Davos last week blasting Ilhan Omar to the Davos audience. I'm not sure they know who she is. And this is the second time in less than a week that something like this happens. Let's remember that this weekend, Maxwell Frost, the congressman from Orlando, was at a party in Sundance when somebody came and beat him up, punched him in the face. And it's also, so this, you know what Donald Trump should do today? If he wants to de-escalate what's happening, he should call Ilhan Omar and ask her how she's doing.
I'm actually going to play what Trump has said about Omar just to refresh people's memories.
Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage. They come from hell. And they complain and do nothing but bitch.
I think she's terrible. I think she should be impeached. I think she's terrible. Is she originally from Somalia?
What is going on with Omar? I've been reading these reports for 2 years about how corrupt and crooked she is. She's going to tell us, she's telling us how to run our country.
Simple question. Why is all this happening in Minneapolis? Why? Why has this become the domestic war zone? What is the reason? Is there a specific area that has caused this? Why? Because I think that's really the question. On a bipartisan basis, why is that not a reasonable question?
Let me just ask you.
Why
let me
this
just answer.
place?
Let me offer some possibilities. Minneapolis is a city of fewer than 500,000 people. The Trump administration decided to send 3,000 federal officers to that one city.
Why did they send them?
Which is more than they have sent anywhere else, including Chicago of 3 million, Los Angeles.
But why?
Anywhere. Why? Well, according to Trump, it's because they're going after fraud. But again,
could there be fraud, Abby? Maybe.
Minneapolis is not unique.
What
in
about that
having
fraud? What
jails
about
that
that
don't
fraud?
let
But
ICE
it's
in,
not
but they
just- Yeah, but if
are
you're gonna go
united
after
in
fraud, you
having
send
thousands of
fraud
federal officers on the
investigators.
ground. That is the only
Well,
part
why
about
don't we
this
just
that
talk
is
about
unique.
fraud for a minute? What,
But it's not fraud, Kevin. Like, that is BS.
What is
so
it?
he's saying fraud.
A lot of money missing.
A
lot of money missing.
Use these unless it's
Taxpayers are asking.
They're sending them. He is targeting Minnesota because he keeps claiming he won it. He has not, and they are already trying to sow
I think
discord.
you're deflecting
in
the issue
I'm not
of the
deflecting,
money
'cause what
that's
we're talking about
missing.
is a congresswoman who got attacked tonight.
You know what I
So
like
you're
about
deflecting.
fraud? It's
So
binary.
let me just answer your question. Congresswoman Ilhan Omar was attacked tonight. That is the actual issue.
What does that have to do with fraud?
Understandably, that's not the topic that we're talking about.
Oh,
You're
I'm talking about
deflecting.
fraud right now.
Okay, well, right now you're
hold on,
listening.
Kevin.
No,
So-
I'm asking about fraud.
Well, right now, why don't you let me finish my point? Ellie, I take your point that you think it's both sides, but let me just say the data respectfully disagrees with you. According to government and independent analysis, since 2001, 85% of political deaths have been from right-wing extremists. There was a study posted on the DOJ about right-wing extremism being one of the biggest issues in America. Of course, it quietly disappeared when Donald Trump came into office. When you think about the big right-wing attacks that have happened in the past 10 years or so, there was the Dylan Roof shooting, the Charleston in Charleston. There was the Tree of Life synagogue attack. There was the El Paso Walmart incident. There was the 2020 arrest of the 13 men who attempted to kidnap Governor Gretchen Whitmer. So every time I hear people say it's both sides, there is no data to back that up, and there's not even a lot of anecdotal evidence to say that. We have to start acknowledging that the side of people, the out loud racists, the people who are saying all these awful things, they are solidly in the MAGA camp. And as long as we don't acknowledge that, we're trying to sweep it under the rug. It doesn't seem like we're ever going to really.
Excuse me, what about the fraud?
Well, I
Hold
take
on,
your
hold
point,
on.
and I accept the data. I'm not saying it's exactly 50-50 equal, but let's also not forget Charlie Kirk was murdered. The president.
Not by a left-wing extremist. That person espoused very right-wing extremists.
Look, if you look at the targets, if you look at people in office, there's
The right attacks the
there's
right.
people on, but there's Josh Shapiro, there's Melissa Horton, now there's Ilhan Omar on this side, there's Donald Trump on this side, there's Charlie Kirk on this side.
You're saying that, but those
I'm not
are
saying it's
right-wing
exactly
people.
mathematically equal.
But it's not
Take your
even
data.
analogous,
Take your
Ellie.
data.
It's not even
that the
analogous.
rhetoric
Those
on
were
both
right-wing
sides
the fact that there was
people
an
who were
assassination attempt on the
It's not
Republican
disingenuous. That is
president.
BS. And even the attacks that you're referencing, Ellie, those were right-wing people. Like, give me the
That's just not
give me
true.
the
Well, hold on,
evidence.
Kirk.
Let me
That's
just
not a right-wing person.
Let me get
Why
in
was
here.
that not
Hold on,
right-wing?
Tiffany.
Because
Let me
he
just
identified with
try to get us
trans
to a place where
relationship,
we
but
can
his
all be
political
talking
beliefs were
about the same
right-wing.
thing, because I do think this moment is one where there is heated rhetoric that is being expressed by people on the left and people on the right. And when it comes to the threats against public figures, you can make the argument both ways, that right-wing violence is predominantly the problem, but in this particular moment, you could argue that both parties run the risk of their rhetoric leading to violence.
What about if you're not left or right? You're just a taxpayer like me, a lowly taxpayer, and I'd like to investigate fraud. I want my money back if it was stolen from me. Is that okay or is that not okay?
Listen,
I want my money back.
Well, hold on. I mean, look, Kevin, the fraud is being has been investigated, is
Why are we
being
talking about that?
investigated. People are being prosecuted. The DOJ could be talking about that, but what they decided to do instead was send immigration officials into Minnesota, presumptively because they thought that the fraud was coming only from foreigners, when most of the Somalis who they were
I
targeting
don't care
are
where it's
Americans.
coming from. I want my money back.
Right, but what
I get it.
she is saying
I get
is
it,
that
but the point
nothing
is,
they are doing,
none of
nothing
this
they have
has
done
to do with
is
fraud.
helping you get your money back.
I
Also,
represent taxpayers and I want my
I
money back.
understand.
Then,
But look.
if you represent taxpayers, then tell the
And by the way,
president
let
that
me
you
just-
should
There's
let me
red
just
taxpayers,
circle back.
that
blue
he's spending a
taxpayers.
ton of money
Okay.
to terrorize.
Let me circle back with Jim on this
a
one
city.
thing. Ilhan Omar, in particular, has been the center, and you heard it there from the president, the center of a lot of awful attacks. He called her garbage. What should the president do? Should he pick up the phone and call her? Should anybody say enough is enough? We need to tone this down, particularly when it comes to her.
We should be saying enough is enough across the board on these things. This particular incident, the Josh Shapiro incident, all of them, where the president did pick up the phone and call Josh Shapiro after he had his house burned down in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Those types of things happen. Should he pick up the phone and call Ilhan Omar? That's up to Donald Trump whether he wants to do that. If I were the president, I'd pick up the phone and make that phone call.
Here's the thing, though. Donald Trump is actually responsible for the vitriol. So is there going to be any acknowledgement of that? Should there be?
Well, if he, like I said, if I were the president, I'd pick up the phone and call Ilhan Omar to see if she's okay the next day. Because that's what we do as Americans. We should pick up the phone and care about someone on the other side, even though you vehemently disagree with everything they say.
All right, next for us, more breaking news. DHS is releasing its first report of the Alex Preddy shooting, and there is something that is notably missing from that report. We'll tell you when we come back.